Hey, this is Mark, and I'm in a very nice car right now. I actually used a Get Around car. We have an app called Get Around, and you can use somebody's car in your neighborhood. And yeah, I went to my friend Estella's 50th birthday. Happy birthday, Estella. And I'm going to do the reading now because I still have 15 minutes till I have to turn this car back in. And I thought, I'm going to do the reading from the car. From the Golden Present, Daily Inspirational Readings by Sri Swami Satchidananda. And this is October 20th, and the topic it's kind of a longer one. Depend entirely on God. A beautiful story in the ancient Hindu scripture, the Mahabharata, clearly teaches what is meant by surrender to God. A beautiful princess named Draupadi was brought to the king's court. In the ancient days, when you wanted to show that you had won a victory over someone, you did something that would damage his reputation. So the king decided to put Draupadi to shame by stripping her sari off. By doing this, he would ruin Draupadi's husband's reputation. A sari is 6 or 7 yards of material which is gracefully wrapped around and tucked in with delicate folds. The king began to pull Draupadi's sari, and though she was clutching it tightly, very soon he succeeded in pulling out one round and almost a second round of the sari. Draupadi was so frightened. She was crying out to God in the form of Lord Krishna. Krishna, Krishna, she cried, but her cries went unanswered. In another minute, the entire sari would be pulled off. Her strength could never match the king's. Realizing the situation, she thought to herself, "This is the final round of my sari. If I lose this also, I will be doomed." In that moment, a great realization dawned. What am I doing? I cannot take care of myself anymore. Lord Krishna, if you want me to face this disgrace, I will accept it. I totally trust you. My life is in your hands. With that, she let go of the sari and held her hands up and cried, Krishna! Draupadi just stood there calling and crying to Lord Krishna while the king mercilessly pulled the last round of her sari. But as he pulled, the cloth kept coming. After the last round, there was another, and another, and another. He pulled again and again, yet there seemed to be no end to the sari. He was pulling and pulling and pulling. Yards and yards and yards of sari seemed to be coming from somewhere. The king was soon exhausted and could pull no more. Draupadi was saved. The story illustrates a great truth. Even God cannot come and help you as long as you have faith in your own strength. If you are not totally surrendered, he says, okay, you still have strength. Then why don't you take care of yourself? Complete surrender means to give up totally and depend entirely on God. Well, I was thinking how this story is just a story. I don't know if we can. It's from the Hindu scripture in the Mahabharata, so I guess this story happened. But in some ways, it also feels like it's a parable to speak about what's said at the end here. Complete faith. When you still think there's an option, you don't completely surrender, like when she was still holding on to her sari but praying, like, please help. It wasn't until she completely let go, hands in the air, and just said, you know what, I don't know what, if it's meant to be that this is taken away from me, then apparently that's your wish. So to completely surrender that way, wow, maybe it does take that moment when we really are without belief of what's supposed to happen or can happen next, or when we think we're actually about to be lost or about to lose. Um, it looks like there's no other way, you know. Maybe that's when we can depend entirely on God. You know, sometimes I've heard people talk about this, you know, sometimes people only really start to pray when they are in that desperate moment. And maybe that's, I've heard it in another reading of Swami Satchidananda's, that's when the real prayer is useful or is um, important. All the little prayers throughout the day, you know, they're just, maybe those are more ego related things we wish we could have. Like, I wish I could have this car. um, it is a nice car, and I was thinking this would be a pretty cool one for me to have. But I don't need a car. I haven't had one since I lived in San Francisco, and so in minutes it will get taken away from me, maybe never to be sat in again. So that's different. But the got a little distracted because I saw myself sitting in this car again, and it's pretty cool. um, you know, I'm wearing this T-shirt. It's the Rolling Stones when they went to Puerto Rico, and I can imagine, you know, people in Puerto Rico and then people in other disasters here in Northern California. You know, it's at that moment where it's hard to know what's supposed to happen. It feels like being saved and saved from some of these horrible things that have happened would be God coming in to try to help. But, you know, why did that not happen? Why did these disasters occur? So that can make it tough. Like, I don't know. Um, had they had completely depended entirely or surrendered to God, is this suggesting that this wouldn't have happened? I mean, again, that's a tough one, but I don't think those are the kind of discussions that are worth really having because it already happened. So it is what it is. And instead of saying, well, if we would have done this, that really doesn't weigh, it doesn't have any value, any weight or value at this point. I think that it's maybe something to think about what you do now and do now going forward. I can imagine some people were praying and were hoping that they would be saved. We heard some stories about that, you know, but that's another topic about why that might have happened, related to karma or um, yeah. But again, not useful at the moment to try to give those answers. It happened, and um, yeah, I don't know. I don't have anything more than that at the moment. Okay, well, I'm going to leave it there, and I'm gone a little over time than I wanted, but yeah, okay. Goodbye. Goodbye to this car. See you next time.